Today I'm going to make a card using this Hero Arts cling stamp and some Copic markers. The stamp that we use sticks right to any clear block, even though it looks like a rubber stamp, and I'm inking it up with Memento's Tuxedo Black ink. This ink is particularly good for using with Copic markers because it doesn't bleed. This is the one usually recommended by most card makers who use Copic markers, and I have found that it just works wonderfully. So I'm just going to stamp that onto white cardstock, and then I'm going to show you the Copic markers that I'm going to be using today. I'm going to be using 2 pinks and 2 yellow-orange sort of colors. The lightest pink color is called Blush R20. The second, the other pink marker, a little bit darker, is called R22, and the name of it's Light Prawn. The darker orange there is Y38, which is called Honey, and the other lighter yellow is Y32, called Cashmere. I'll be using one more later called Y28, and that's Lionette Gold. But I'm going to start off with the blush marker there. I pointed out the difference between the two tips there. One is a chisel tip on that end, but we're going to be using the brush tip on the other end. I'm just going to make a few little strokes so that I can see what sort of colors I'm working with and know. Give me a little bit of a color palette there so you can see what kind of colors we'll be working with today. So I've got a light pink, a dark pink, a light yellow, and a slightly darker, almost more orange sort of yellow. I'm going to start off with my lightest pink, moving from the center of the butterfly out. I'm not staying within the lines because I'm going to be cutting this out anyway. And this is Blush, which is R20. The more I go over the center of the butterfly, it's going to darken the color. I'm going to move inward with the lighter yellow color. Again, don't worry about the lines. These markers are alcohol based, so they will start to blend together. I'm going to deepen the color toward the center here using the light prawn color. Get a little bit more intense saturation. And then I'm going to take the blush and in a circular motion just blend that into what I already had. Because it's the alcohol-based marker, the lighter color will absorb some of that darker color and make it blend seamlessly. And you just work with it until you feel comfortable with the shading that you have going on. I'm going to intensify the color on the edges by using the light yellow again. One nice thing about the Copics is you can add layers and layers of color over each other, and it darkens slightly each time. I'm going to highlight a few pieces of the butterfly just for a little more dimension. Again, this is using light prawn. I'm also going to hit these little dots up here. I'm pretty happy with that. I'd like to add a little bit more of this orange though, so I'm going to outline the butterfly. I don't care if I hit the outside edge of the butterfly, but I'd rather not hit that inner edge. So I am going to take my time and color this a little more carefully. just continue all the way around until I'm happy with the result. Just going to pick up a little more color toward the edges here. Just in a few spots. And again, I can layer the colors over each other. So I'm going to intensify the brightness of that darker pink toward the center and blend it out with the lighter pink. It's a subtle difference, but it does show a little bit of a difference when you see the colored image up close. Now I'm going to use Lionette Gold just to color over the body of the butterfly. And then I'm going to take my scissors and cut it out. I have my finished butterfly here. You can see I did snip off the antenna. There's a card where I just stamped thanks in the bottom corner, and then I'm going to start layering some pieces here. I'll draw the antenna in on the butterfly at almost the end of the card. I used a Martha Stewart punch on the top and bottom of this scrap piece. And now I'm just going to use some adhesive to hold it onto the card. Some more adhesive on this scrap. And I'm just going to layer that again. And then I'm going to use some glue to attach the butterfly. Okay, this is the back side of the butterfly, and you can see how that marker has saturated through to the back side. That means I had good coverage on the front side of my card. I'm using just a clear, quick drying liquid glue. I'm just going to position my butterfly in the middle, tap it down slightly. And now I'm going to grab a pen and draw back in the antenna. Much easier than trying to cut those little things out. And I decided I needed a little extra sparkle, so I'm going to use some Stickles. Stickles is a glitter glue. It's all combined, so you just squeeze a little bit out and it dries pretty easily, pretty quickly on the card. Put a little bit down the body here, and then I'm going to outline the edges of the butterfly along that orange line that I created. I'm not squeezing out a very thick line. In fact, I'm using as little as possible. That way it can dry quickly and I don't end up with a real goopy mess on the front of my card. I use as little as possible and use the nozzle to spread it around. And there's my completed card. You can see how the butterfly really sparkles there. And that embellishment cost me next to nothing.